Or what is up, everybody? We are back finally, and we are here coming after a very long NFL season. It was an extra week, in fact, and we are here giving our predictions, basically filling out our brackets for what you think is going to happen in these NFL playoffs. So, if you agree with us, disagree with us, tell us in the comments below what we're wrong on, what we're right on. We want to hear feedback from you guys, so go ahead and leave a comment. But let's go ahead and start with the AFC. Tay, do you want to go ahead and start it off? The Titans are the number 1 seed, I believe, right?
Yeah, so they get the bye.
They get the bye week. The number 2 seed is the Chiefs. They're going against the number 7 seed, which is the Steelers.
Yep.
So, what do you got in that game?
I got the Chiefs. I don't think the Steelers stand a chance. I think they'll put up a fight in the beginning, but I think Kansas City will make their adjustments at halftime. The enemy will see what kind of defense they're running. Yeah. They'll make their adjustments, and then it'll go and turn into a massacre of Kansas City just dominating the ball and just running the score up on the Steelers. I have no problem, and I don't see Big Ben really dialing up any crazy long drives, and wasting clock, holding possession and forcing the game to kind of slow down. I don't see that happening. So maybe if it was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe we'd be talking about something different. But at this point of his career, he's not built to be doing those long, 5 minute, 6 minute drives anymore to waste the clock like he could back in the day. My only thing is that the Chiefs cannot play down to the Steelers level, and they're known for playing down when they play worst opponents. That's the worst part about it.
Especially this year.
Yeah, especially this year. So the Chiefs play Chiefs football like we know them to be. They should dominate the Steelers with no problem. But if they play like the Chiefs from this year, well, unfortunately, the Steelers might have a chance, and Big Ben might go on and have this long going out party of a career. So we'll have to just wait and see.
All right, so I think this could be a little bit of a trap game for the Chiefs. The key to beating the Steelers is to run the ball against them, and that's because over the last 10 weeks, the opponents against the Steelers' run defense have averaged 174 rushing yards. So they need to use Darrell Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They need to use them to the fullest extent. Obviously, I expect them to throw the ball a lot, but my issue with that is that even though Kelsey is back, Hill's been a little bit of a disappointment, and the Steelers still have a really good secondary. And I mean, that's what cost the Ravens the playoff spot, right? It was their secondary.
Yeah.
So I think Mahomes is going to get into trouble if he tries to force throws and if he tries to just doesn't pick up the easy yards against this Steelers team. But if they run the ball and if Mahomes just makes the simple throw, the wide open throw, I think the Chiefs win this game as well. And then also we got to talk about the mentality of the Steelers going. A lot of people have been questioning what Ben Roethlisberger said right before the game.
So I'll pull up this quote. Ben Roethlisberger said, "As a group, you understand that we probably aren't supposed to be here. We're probably not a very good football team. Out of 14 teams I think are in, we're probably number 14. We don't have a chance. So let's just go in and have fun." He's already pretty much accepted defeat. That's the worst part. When the leader of the team has accepted defeat, it's kind of it boosts down the morale of the team going into the game. I can only imagine what Mike Tomlin had to say. I mean, obviously he said it in the media, but I mean, obviously behind closed doors, I had to think Tomlin had to ask him what the hell were you thinking?
I think you could kind of maybe look at it another way in terms of
motivating the team.
Yeah, maybe Ben's just saying look, we're the underdogs. Just go out there and just play. We could maybe we have a chance. But he also didn't allude to them even having a chance. It feels like he's 1 foot out the door, ready to retire. He just wants to
get it over with.
Yeah, he's just glad he's not losing in his final game to the Ravens. He's glad he's losing to Patrick Mahomes. Right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, if Chiefs players are hearing this and if they start to relax, they put their foot off the gas because they're like, oh, this team's given up. That's why I'm saying it could be a trap game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than most people would expect. But my problem is the Chiefs defense has been actually pretty decent. It's actually been very, very solid over their past run since they've started coming back into playoff shape.
Yeah.
It's kind of been spurred by their defense. And Big Ben is, I mean, he's Big Ben. He's going to throw short,
Yeah.
and his deep balls are not going to be accurate. So they're definitely going to take advantage of that. And yeah, either way, I think the Chiefs still pull it off, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than people expect.
Yeah.
The next matchup we got is the 3-seeded Buffalo Bills versus the 6-seeded Patriots, which is a divisional game, division rival game.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. This is honestly, it's probably one of the closest games in my opinion of the playoffs.
Okay, so I think that the Bills are going to shock a lot of people. I think that one win the Patriots had against the Bills, I think it was just a product of the environment based on the weather. Yeah. And the Bills, they're a pass first team. They don't really have the best running backs. So when you take away them being able to pass the ball because of the crazy weather, and you force them to run the ball, that's kind of the outcome you get. And then the defense, they are a talented defense, but when you have running backs like Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris and the O-line for the Patriots, it's kind of hard to stop the run when a team is literally very slow-paced offense already anyway. So at that point, you're playing their game. So it's kind of like they fell into the Patriots' game plan already anyway. Mind you, the second time they played, it was a very different story. Josh Allen had a really good game. The Bills overall had a really good game. And I expect the same result again. I expect the Bills to kind of come in and just kind of, take charge very early. Now, with that being said, this game will come down to coaching though, because everybody knows Belichick is such an amazing coach and he'll make his adjustments by halftime. So even if the Bills are kind of, it seems like they're blowing out the Patriots, I would say don't turn the game off at halftime. Wait till you see those first kind of like 3 drives from the Patriots to see what they kind of do and what they change on offense and defense, just what adjustments they make to see how they're going to play out the rest of the game. But I think the Bills will win, but I think the second half, the Patriots will make a surge and kind of make it a closer game than what it looks like in the beginning.
Yeah, my biggest issue is I'm not sure if I trust Mac Jones in the playoffs. I mean, I know I said before the season I was like, I don't know if I trust Mac Jones to get into the playoffs, but clearly he has. I was definitely wrong about him before. I could be wrong about him again. But this Patriots team is so run dependent and run heavy, and I could see the Bills shutting that down. I mean, they kind of somewhat tried to do that in their last matchup, although Damian Harris he went nuts on the Bills. He had 18 carries, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So what I feel like the Patriots could have actually pulled that game out if Mac Jones had done better, because he threw 2 picks in that game. And so it's going to come down to Mac Jones, in my opinion. Devin Singletary is actually kind of emerged as like a solid running back for them.
Yeah.
They used to just not run the ball at all. But then they were like, yeah, okay, let's start using Singletary. And he's actually looked pretty good over these past few weeks. And especially as a receiving back. I mean, he can also catch the ball, and he's really quick. He's agile. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a battle between what Mac Jones are you getting? Are you getting the turnover-prone Mac Jones, or are you getting the
very accurate?
Yeah,
kind of dink and dime, just easy take the ball, very slow and methodical game plan. They like to use
dollar store Brady.
Yeah, Jones, pretty much.
Man, I got to pick the Bills here, but I would not be surprised at an upset. I mean, they have so many talented. The Patriots have so many talented players on defense.
Yeah,
and obviously, and obviously their running game is really good. But look, people have been saying for years, all right, I'm a Ravens fan. I hear it all the time. You can't win off a run game in the playoffs. Okay, well then, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Bills here, because according to your guys' logic, you can't win games off the run in the playoffs. So
I like how you said that it's going to come down to Mac Jones. I think it will come down to that too as well. My only thing is that this is the 3rd time they're playing.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like a very big chess match. Like it's going to come down to who makes more mistakes than the other team.
Yes.
At that too. Because both teams are going to be very on point, just very precise, and they're going to try to make as little mistakes as possible, because they know once one team makes a mistake, the other team is definitely going to capitalize on the mistake for sure. So it's just based on mistakes, what kind of Mac Jones we're getting, and coaching. I think that's 3 things that are going to, take over this game.
Yeah, and this is also pending weather. I don't know if a snowstorm rolls in, I think the Patriots win it. I'm going to be honest.
Win it, yeah.
But if the weather's fine, like if it's just a very cold day, it's somewhat clear, I think the Bills got it. But yeah, so let's move on to the 4 seed Bengals versus your 5 seed Raiders. The Raiders really snuck in there right at the end. Heck of a game to
What
put
can I
them in
say?
there. You know what? I'll start off with this. Actually, I'll let your side. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
All right. So look, I'm a brag a little bit because a lot of people, they counted us out.
But
You
I'm not
know,
gonna hear it, bro. I'm
a
not
lot,
gonna.
a lot of people counted us out, man. We had a lot of scams going on, and listen, even I did. I'm be honest. I said, listen, there's no shot that we do anything this season. There's just too much going on. There's too many distractions. Every other week, there's somebody getting in trouble. There's another scandal. There was just so much turmoil with this team.
Yeah.
But Max Crosby, Derek Carr, and honestly, Hunter Renfrow, they've been carrying a load. Those three guys, those are the three leaders of the team. It's obvious. Every week these guys show up, they show out. They're at this point they're kind of putting the team on their back, and they're bringing the juice up with the rest of the team. Everybody's feeding off their energy. So I mean, when you have Derek Carr, he made a couple mistakes in a couple games, but when it's these big games that mattered for us to win, he showed up, he did his job, not a lot of turnovers, very precise. He took control of the offense, and then Max Crosby on the other hand, on the defense side, he's getting pressure on quarterbacks like crazy. I believe that Max Crosby I think he has the most pressures out of any defensive tackle or defensive lineman in the NFL this year. I think he has like 20 more than Aaron Donald. I think he's like in like this like 70s like range, 70, 80s range. And I think Aaron Donald's like high 60s, low 70s. So, this guy has an unbelievable motor. I haven't seen anything like it. This guy never gets tired. He plays every snap of the game. He doesn't take off one snap, and he keeps going like it's the first snap of the game all game. And I think that helps a lot with the defense because it makes it easier for the secondary when you have a guy like that constantly making the quarterback, second guess his reads because he's worrying about his blind side getting pressured or hit this guy losing a double team. So with that being said, I think we take down, Mr. Joe Burrow. I'm a little worried because Joe Burrow's been balling out. I think he's been throwing like 400 yards a game these past like 2 or 3 games. So that's worrying me a little bit. He's also the second best quarterback when under pressure. Mm-hmm. He's very accurate under pressure, which is very scary. So Max Crosby I'm gonna need like 2 or 3 sacks at least. Rattle him up a little bit. But I have a lot of faith in our secondary. If we take out Desmond Trufant, Desmond Trufant does not play, I have a lot of faith in the secondary. But I also had to give a lot of props to the Bengals. Joe Burrow is just playing out of his mind. Jamar Chase is, we've never seen anything like this coming from a rookie receiver. We both definitely underestimated this pick. I know we were saying this is kind of a bogus pick and they should have went with the O-lineman. Well, they pretty much told us to shut up and watch them play football because Jamar and Joe Burrow have this unbelievable connection. And then on top of that, that connection is it's like just flowing to the other guys. Boyd is playing unbelievable. T. Higgins is just he's going up and grabbing everything over any DB that's lined up against him. It looks like he's unguardable at this point, just like Jamar Chase. So when you have 3 guys that are 3 receivers playing out of their mind with a quarterback who's also playing unbelievable, it's kind of hard to stop him. And then Joe Mixon, the last time he played this, I think he ran for like 120 yards and like 2 touchdowns. It's kind of hard to stop an offense that's so potent and so on point and precise. But I think it will definitely be a shootout unless the Raiders go out and Derek Carr makes mistakes. They get a little nervous, they get a little too amped up, and they just get a little rattled. But I think we can take control of the game. I think we can come out and pull a win.
All right. This is what I think is going to happen. I think the Raiders are going to go up somewhat big early. And I think they're going to choke their lead, and I think the Bengals are going to come back and win. The Raiders almost did that against the Chargers.
Yes.
And I think the Chargers they've definitely been low-key disappointing. Not actually disappointing, but it's like you expected them to probably have secured the spot with how well Justin Herbert's been playing. But that that game scared me for the Raiders because it's like, even though they did win that game, they should have won it like hands down without even going to overtime. I mean, they won it by
Yeah.
the skin of their teeth, thanks to a timeout by Brandon Staley. But that's a different topic for another time.
Yeah.
My biggest worry about this game is for you guys is the Bengals just have so many weapons. I mean, like you said, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, who I don't know how he was not catching anything in the camps, in the training camps of the preseason, but apparently he's the greatest player of all time in the regular season. Yeah, they have three really capable receivers. Their O line's actually really, really decent. And the run game, I mean, Joe Mixon, as long as he's healthy, he's been looking like a star this year. I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to stop that guy.
I want to kind of flash back to, I believe this is week 17. Yeah, week 17 when you guys went up against the Colts. Jonathan Taylor ran for 20 and 108 on you. Even though they lost the game, I put that more on Carson Wentz just playing bad.
Yeah,
Honestly, if Carson Wentz was just having a decent game, like an average game,
they would have won that game easily.
they would have won that game. So my prediction is the Bengals win it, but it also relies a little bit on Joe Burrow's health. I know he had a little bit of a knee thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if that'll really affect him. They said he's gonna be fine. They rested him the last week. I think he'll be okay. If he does come back healthy, I think the Bengals take this game, and I think it's gonna be an exciting game, like you said. But I think it's gonna be come from behind Bengals W. But I'll talk a little bit more about the Bengals a little bit later. Because obviously I got to moving on.
Yeah.
So let's recap our first round for the AFC. We both had the Chiefs winning. We both had the Bills winning, and I had the Bengals moving on. You have the Raiders moving on. Now the Titans are coming in, number 1 seed. They go against the lower seed that's remaining.
So they'll play the Bengals.
For me, it's the Bengals. For you, it's the Raiders.
Raiders. Okay. Yeah.
Let me hear who you got for if the Titans and Raiders match up. Who do you got to win that game?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna take Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, our defense has nothing to stop Derrick Henry. If he comes back, we had to see how he's been doing.
Yeah.
Obviously he gets this extra week to rest. I know they took him off IR and there was a possibility he was gonna play week 18. They obviously didn't do it because I think they were just gonna give him 2 weeks to rest.
Yeah.
So when you give a guy like that 2 weeks to rest, and if he's been practicing, then it's gonna get scary for us. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That 1 seed was so crucial for Tennessee to get, because if they didn't get it, I mean, it's gonna be tough to just throw Derrick Henry out there. But now they have an extra week. It's scary.
Yeah. This Tennessee team has surprised me, honestly. For them to come out, they lose Derrick Henry. Julio was out for a good amount of the year. Then AJ Brown got hurt. I mean, it was literally just Tannehill and a bunch of other backups and practice squad guys going out there and just winning games. And the defense takes a lot of credit for that. The defense has really stepped up this year. But I would say Ryan Tannehill has done a really good job with the weapons that he's had and what he's had to work with. He's done a good job at managing these games. He's done a good job with, using his legs too. He's been using his legs a little bit, not a lot, but he's using them when he needs to. And that's kind of, and it's not uncharacteristic of him, but it's not like normal. So I think he was just, taking a toll on his body, I'd say, and, putting the team on his back with kind of, I'm willing to do whatever I can to win these games and help us keep a roll on what we've already been going on when Derrick Henry was already here. Obviously he's hurt now, but there's a lot of weapons on this Tennessee offense is coming back. That's healthy. That's scaring me. Do I think they'll be a little out of sync at first? It's possible because they haven't been playing together, but that might take 2 or 3 drives and they'll get clicked right back in and it'll just turn to a slaughter fest. Do I think the Raiders have the offense to kind of battle with Tennessee's defense? Yes. But my problem is that I think Tennessee will blitz Derek Carr a lot, and we don't have that deep threat with Henry Ruggs for him to just kind of just throw it up there and let somebody go get it. I know we signed Tyron Johnson. I know we have Zay Jones, but when you compare those guys to Henry Ruggs, it's a different story. So it's unfortunate. I don't think we'll go past the second round, but I think it's good enough for us. The fact that we're here, I think that's good enough already.
Yeah, I didn't think you guys would even make playoffs, so
Yeah.
it is definitely good to be here if you're a Raiders fan. Meanwhile, I have the Bengals here, and I'm taking the Bengals, man. I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna depend on how Derrick Henry comes back.
Yeah.
If he comes back looking a little bit rusty, they can't afford that. He has to come back 100% from the get go, or even just 75% is okay. But if he
Yeah.
comes back looking like 50%, if he's
It's
not
not
all the
gonna
way
work.
there, I don't think it's going to work out because even though Derrick Henry's been the monster this season, he's had a few games, especially early in this season, where he would run. He ran like 20 times like at halftime and for only about like 30 or 40 yards. Like it was like he was getting stopped a lot, surprisingly. Um, and so that's kind of my biggest worry about Derrick Henry is if he doesn't have that explosion from the get go, it's going to be tough for the Titans to win this game. But they do have AJ Brown, which changes a lot because they haven't had him for a long time.
Yeah.
And when he's been there, he's looked very good for them. My concern with the Titans is that they, even though they've been one of the most impressive teams this year because they've been dealing with all these injuries and they've still been winning, they got the 1 seed.
It's
Even
been a
though
lot of
that's
nail
true,
biters.
yeah, they've had a lot of close games, a lot of games they lucked out on, and a lot of games where they should have like they kind of took their foot off the gas, like against the Texans. Like they almost lost that game.
Yeah.
They almost wouldn't have had the first seed because they took their foot off the gas in that game. But obviously with Derrick Henry, that changes things. But here's the thing, right? The Bengals have a really, really solid defensive line. I think they can contain him somewhat.
Yeah.
And the Bengals also have a really good secondary. And so I think overall, I think they're the 12th ranked defense overall. And I'd say that's pretty good. The Titans defense has gotten better as time has went on. I don't know what's going on. Is Bud Dupree playing? Because he had some.
So I know he has this. I don't know what's going on with
Yeah.
his legal case. I haven't heard anything
Mhm.
saying that he's not playing or anything indicating that he's not playing.
Yeah.
I think we'll learn more once they get closer to playing games.
Mhm.
But I think yeah, I really don't know. I think that's just kind of just like up in the air right now. I think this is
Yeah.
kind of just like one of those things that's floating around.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that this Bengals team has so many ways to they're like a death by a thousand cuts team. How do you want to go? Do you want T Higgins to drop uh, 80 yards on you? Do you want Joe Mixon to run for 60 and 2 touchdowns? Like you got to pick your poison with like who you really want to focus on and defend. It's hard to defend all of them. And if Bud Dupree's not there, and he's one of the anchors for their defense, if he's not there, it's going to be really, really tough for the Titans to hang on in that scenario. So I got the Bengals winning, not by much, but by enough that it's a solid win. I think the Bengals can do this, especially if the Titans do what they do, because for some reason they haven't learned their lesson.
Yeah,
They're probably, if this was a away game, I guarantee they would have stepped on the Bengals
the
logo.
logo, 1000%.
Yeah. And I think the Bengals are going to keep that in the back of their mind that this team is not afraid to disrespect them at any point. And I think there's going to be some trash talk leading up to the game. And you know what Joe Burrow does when trash talk happens, bro. Yeah, I mean,
This guy,
I,
he performs.
look,
I've
he
never seen
destroyed my
anybody
Ravens
respond.
twice. He destroyed my Ravens, even though we're injured on defense. Like we were actually still decent. He destroyed us twice, bro. Like I can't get over that. Like he
Yeah, I
annihilated.
mean the way this guy responds to people, just hating on him and just throwing so much shade and dirt on his name. I mean, this guy, he just continues to prove everybody wrong.
Yep.
Um, you can't do anything but respect the guy. I mean, he's made a late MVP push because of the way he's been playing these past like 3-4 games. Um, I mean, I know between week 15 and week 16, I think he's thrown for almost 1,000 yards in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which is nuts. Um, you don't really see that happen with guys late on the season. You see that like early on, guys start out hot, they kind of slow down. Well, this guy's kind of, he's kind of just stayed on pace like the same all year. And then as the season got deeper and deeper, he's just slowly been ascending to this
Yep.
top tier quarterback, this elite, just one of the top guys at the quarterback position in the league.
I'd say probably
Um,
top 10 for
yeah,
sure.
easily.
Like, yeah.
Um, I think when you have a quarterback who's able to get the ball to receivers at anywhere on the field, I
Yep.
mean, this guy, he's literally you want him to give the receiver a high ball. Okay, T Higgins, go up and grab it. You want him to give a nice little small window to Jamar Chase. All right, Jamar Chase, go ahead and make a little quick sideline grab. Or you want him to throw a back shoulder pass to Jamar Chase in the end zone. Jamar Chase finds a way to late hands grab it in the back of the end zone. And it's kind of hard. Or you want him to Tyler Boyd has freaking the third or fourth DB on him when he should probably realistically, if T Higgins and Jamar Chase aren't there, he's probably gonna have the one or two DB on him. So he's like the third or fourth guy. He gets open in the middle of the field. So like you said, it's hard to stop this team when they have so many weapons. It's like pick your poison. Who do you want to have? Who do you want to have a good game? Like you said, you want T Higgins to have a good game, or you want Jamar Chase to have a good game? You want Jamar Chase to do bad, or you want it's hard.
Even CJ Uzama, I mean, he's been a really solid.
He's still a weapon there.
Yep.
I mean, even
They're tight
even
end.
if they want they throw him a couple of drag routes, a couple of dig routes, put him in the flat. He's able to get a couple yards or get open in the open field and score touchdowns. So, it's definitely very hard to stop this team when they have so many weapons. And this team is really young. Like this isn't an old team. This is a young, thriving. Like they're only going to get better. There's no getting worse with this team. Like this is not even the tip of the iceberg. Like this is not even their peak. This is like just the beginning of the story of what the Bengals could really be. And I think that a lot of people should be scared going on in the future. And this is a really talented team, and I'm really nervous for the AFC North because it's looking like they might run that division for a couple of years going on.
Yeah, one thing I do want to give credit to the Titans for, though, is their run defense has been really, really solid.
Yeah, really good.
And the Bengals cannot really afford to rely on Joe Mixon in this game. They're probably going to have to use him to beat the Raiders, but they're probably going to have to shy away from him in this game. And so my X factor for this matchup would be Jamar Chase. We've seen Jamar Chase in the beginning of the season be elite, end of the season be elite, but he had that slump right in the middle.
Yeah.
That few game stretch where the Bengals were losing and Jamar Chase was not producing. It's going to depend on Jamar Chase whether or not they win this game. And obviously also on the Titans side, I think it's going to depend if Bud Dupree's there or not. If he's there, I think he's a serious threat. If he's not,
1,000%.
Yeah, if he's not, I'm a little more lenient on, the Bengals might actually solidly win this game.
Yeah.
But for now, I got the Bengals moving on. You got the Titans moving on. And our next matchup, Chiefs versus Bills. Who do you got in this one? Because this is probably gonna be a really good game.
Listen, man, I'm rocking with Buffalo.
I
don't think they're gonna lose again. I think this is the matchup they've been waiting for. I think they've probably been scheming for this matchup all year. Yeah. They make it this far every year, and they get to the Chiefs, and it's like they just can't get over that hump. I think this is the year they get over the hump. The defense has really improved from last year. I think it's really just in that front like front seven, the linebackers and the defensive line. Man, they have impressed a lot, and I give a lot to Matt Milano. He's like been that guy for them a lot this year, and he's obviously you can tell he's the captain of the defense. That's his defense, and he's running that defense really well. And when you have Gregory Rousseau, who's just balling, this guy's been balling a lot this year, and when you have a guy like that, they don't even have crazy pieces. They just have guys who are there who just do their assignments, and they get the job done. I think when you have guys like that who just play together and they're a really tight-knit team, I think this is the year that they get the job done and they go on and they beat the Chiefs. The only thing is the Bills can't get greedy, take these chances on times where, just be more reliant on your defense and not try to get so many points to play the shootout with the Chiefs. Yeah. Trust your defense more this year, and I think they can go on and win this game.
Yeah, that's a trap against the Chiefs, is to try and bait them into a shootout. You don't want to do that unless you're the Bengals, because they won the shootout against
yeah, exactly.
But generally, you don't want to have a shootout against the Chiefs. This is such a tough game for me. I really had to sit down and think about this, but I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs. And I say this because looking over the course of the season, I feel like the Bills have just consistently not really beat great teams or really
Yeah.
good teams. I feel like they've lost a lot of games that everyone expected. Oh, the Bills are just going to wipe in this game, and then they lose and like, oh wait, what happened here? And I'm worried that that could carry over to these playoffs and this matchup because it's going to be such a huge matchup, and this is going to be at Arrowhead, and so this it's just going to be even tougher for the Bills. I honestly, I just think that in general, the Chiefs' defense has been so good, in my opinion. I just can't really see them
Fumbling like that.
losing. Yeah, because like the Bills love to throw the ball. And I think what's going to happen is if the Chiefs get up early, they're going to go away from the run game, which they shouldn't do at all because the Chiefs' run defense is actually not that great. But their secondary has been really, really good. And Fuller stepped up so much in this stretch. I think if the Bills get down early, I think I would be ready to just call it and be like, it's probably over, because then they're going to go back to the Josh Allen throws 50 times a game, 60 times a game. You can't, I mean, it's really hard to win that way because you can't nail every throw. And every time you throw, there is a chance, unless it's a dump off, actually, even on dump offs, that you could throw it wobbly, you could throw a pick,
anything.
it could get knocked in the air. Anything could happen when you throw 50 times a game. And if those Bills show up, I think the Chiefs are going to win. If the other Bills show up that kind of stay sturdy in their beliefs, they run the ball effectively, then it's going to be a much, much closer game. You almost sold me on changing to the Bills at the last second, but I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs. I'm going to stick with the Chiefs. I think they can still pull this off. Patrick Mahomes is just, I mean, he started off really rough, but he's still Mahomes, right? So
yeah.
All right. So recap.
I think that this will probably be like quarterback matchup wise. I think this is the game everybody wants to see, as always. But like you said, they just can't let Josh Allen turn into 50 times a game, 60 times a game. That just can't happen. He can definitely do it, but the team around him is just not built for them to, throw the ball 50, 60 times a game. It's just not gonna.
And the game
doesn't
plan
work like that.
The game plan shouldn't be that. I mean, the Chiefs like if there's any hole in their defense, it's the run defense. Teams have been exploiting it for a long time now. They've shorted up recently, kind of, but it's still hard to trust their run defense fully. So if they can just stick to their guns and actually run the ball instead of panicking and just starting to throw a lot, then they have a solid chance. I think they really could.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so recap. You have the Titans and the Bills as your AFC Championship. Yep. I have the Bengals and Chiefs. Do you want to go first or should I?
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
So, my matchup is Bills Titans. And listen, I'm rocking with Buffalo this year. I really am. I think this is the year that Josh Allen finally gets the job done. As a quarterback, and I just think that this team is more poised, and they just have more chemistry as a unit, and that they're just more together as a team. And the coaching, I think coaching plays a lot into it too. I think McDermott's finally got a hold of this team as one, and he's kind of these guys are they're really fighting this year. I know they've lost a lot of games that they should have won, and they these good teams that they played, they've had like really close games where they just fumbled the bag. But I think in the playoffs, I think they'll just, they'll tighten up, they'll follow suit, and I think that they'll just, they'll dominate. I think more than people expect. Do I think that they will completely dominate the Titans? No, because if Derrick Henry, like you said, if he's playing 75%, we know what happened when they played against the Patriots. It's kind of hard for them to stop the run. They stacked the box. They had like 8 in the box against the Patriots, and they were still running the ball for like 6 yards a carry, almost on every play. So if they can stop Derrick Henry and force Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball more, I think the secondary is more than capable enough to get turnovers, not really have a lot of things open for Tannehill, just to dump the balls to somebody, just throw it downfield to A.J. Brown or something like that.
Another thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about when I picked the Bengals over the Titans was that, and this is a weakness for Tennessee in general, is their O-line is very inconsistent. Some games they'll hold up pretty nicely. Other games they'll just look atrocious and they can't even hold Ryan Tannehill up like for more than 3 seconds. It's definitely going to be like a which Titans O line shows up, or how injured or healthy are they?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
if some O linemen go down in the other game and they somehow scrape by and win, it's gonna be really tough against the Bills have a decent pass rush. The the Bengals have a really good pass rush, and that's another reason why I picked them against the Titans. But against the Bills, yeah, it's gonna be hard to stop Josh Allen in that scenario. I just think I think the Titans' biggest weakness is a team that, for one, would feel like the underdog or has momentum here,
Yeah.
and then two, has somebody who can make tough throws.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you have to beat this defense. You have to really be accurate with your throws, and you have to be precise. You have to make sure you don't make mistakes, because the second Tennessee gets a turnover, it feels like the game really changes. Just the
Absolutely.
momentum. Like their players, like as disrespectful as they can be, like
They feed off of it. They love
yeah,
it. They love when they get turnovers and when they make team
yep,
make mistakes. They just feed off of it, and you can tell that the whole energy with the whole
yep,
team just changes. It's
yep,
like they just turn to a whole different football team whenever they get turnovers, or whenever another team makes a mistake, and they know that, oh, we can just put the nail in the coffin.
yep.
It's like it's like a Titans 2.0.
You
It's
can
like a
feel it.
completely different team.
Yeah, like you can feel the energy
Yeah.
shifting when stuff like that happens. Um, so yeah, if I was in your scenario, yeah, I'd probably pick the Bills too. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if Derrick Henry's back to what he normally does, it's gonna be
They're
tough
gonna
for the
have a hard
Bills
time
to.
stopping them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you have the Bills going to the Super Bowl. All right. My Super Bowl team from the AFC is gonna be, drum roll, the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals to go all the way. I
Listen, man, they're
genuinely
hot.
think,
They're on the roll right now.
yep. If Joe Burrow's healthy, if that knee really isn't a problem, they have every single piece they need to make a Super Bowl run right now. And what's crazy is that nobody expected it. I mean, everybody put them at the bottom of the division. I put them at the bottom of the division
I think I did too.
to start the year, right? But wow, I mean, they've really surprised. Like their O line has held up much better than everyone thought they would. And so yeah, in retrospect, that pick for Jamar Chase looks a lot better.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so the Bengals and Chiefs did go against each other a couple weeks ago. Actually, the score was 34-31. The Bengals just inched them out, and they won kind of in a way that I think kind of how I predicted that they would win against the Raiders, where they went, I believe they went down 14-0 to start the game, and then they
Yeah,
roared back.
they got a turnover and then it just
Mhm.
everything changed.
It's like, even if they're doing bad, they still kind of hang in there just enough. Uh, Obviously, like their inconsistency in the middle of the season worries me, but I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Joe Burrow, we saw him in the NCAA playoffs, right? I mean, he was
Yeah. Oh
electric
God.
there.
And
Playoff Burrow is just different. Like,
honestly, these past like 2-3 weeks, that's the quarterback he's looked like. He's looked
yeah,
like that unstoppable. I can make any throw on the field to any guy on the field
the
at any
LSU.
time. That type of quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what I expect of him in these playoffs. I mean, if he looks anything close, I think this is a dangerous team. Even though the Chiefs' defense has been good, like I said before, it has holes. Uh,
Yeah.
there's stuff to exploit in this scenario. Where if maybe they go back to Joe Mixon in this game, and Joe Mixon probably could run laps around this Chiefs line, right?
Defense.
Like,
Yeah. I think that if they go Joe Mixon this game, I think he'll just do exactly what he did against the Raiders. They'll just pound it, and Joe Mixon will just run down the throats. He'll get breakaway runs, or he'll probably average 4 to 5 yards a carry, and it's just nothing they can do. It's just going to wail on the team. It's going to tire them out. It's just not going to work.
a couple of weeks ago, they did kind of focus on taking Joe Mixon out of the game. He only had 12 for 46, but
Yeah.
let's just kind of assume that um, let's assume they do go back into a shootout. The one team I trust to have the weapons to actually go against the Chiefs is the Bengals.
Yeah.
They have the weapons to keep up in a shootout. I mean, they don't have a they don't have a Travis Kelce or anything, but they have three receivers that are all really solid. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, I feel like Tyreek Hill's been somewhat disappointing. Like
Yeah.
like
So I wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems like Tyreek Hill's having trouble getting open. And that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy to say that, but I think that a lot of teams have figured out. I wouldn't say they completely figured out, but I think they found a way to, just slow him down. I
Yeah.
don't think you can ever stop Tyreek Hill from having a crazy game because at any moment it could just turn into a freaking
Track meet.
track meet, and you can't stop him.
Yeah.
But I think that some teams have found a way to just contain him enough
Mm-hmm.
to where Mahomes has to spread the ball around, and you force other guys to make plays that he's not really confident in.
Yeah.
So
I think
when it comes to that, I think it becomes a problem.
I think if the Bengals want to win this game defensively, they gotta look at the Ravens tape. What the Ravens did in Week 3. I mean, they focused solely on shutting out Kelsey and shutting out Hill. And with those two gone, Mahomes was flabbergasted. He didn't know what to do. And teams were actually doing that a lot to start the year. And then they kind of midseason happened. Teams kind of got sloppy with their, that happens every year. Teams, they can't keep focused the entire year. Obviously, they have slumps.
There's obviously always a slump between in the season for some teams.
Yeah. And then, the Chiefs kind of got back rolling. But if they just take Kelsey out of this game, if they just take Hill out of this game, I think the Bengals could do it. And they have the pieces to do it. Their secondary is good. They didn't play great in that one game they had, that game they had a couple weeks ago, but they did enough. They did enough to get the W, and I think they could do it again. The Chiefs are probably going to be angry about that. They're probably going to try and get revenge, but I mean, if the Bengals have this much momentum, if they knock off the Titans, I think they're really going to be on a hot streak coming into this AFC Championship. I think I'll ride them to the Super Bowl. Screw it.
Yeah. I would say a big thing for me is that with the Chiefs is that this is the only team that they don't want to see in a battle like this.
Yeah.
It's really hard for them, obviously. And another thing with the Chiefs is that their defensive backs, they walk around a little swagger a little bit. And I think when they try to go and just, showboat a little bit in front of Jamar Chase and these other guys, these guys, they don't do anything but feed off of it. We saw it obviously in the first time they played. I think the guy imitated Jamar Chase's celebration.
Yeah.
And then the very next play, or maybe 2 plays later, Jamar Chase catches a touchdown over top of him.
Yeah, so Jamar Chase was doing nothing that entire game, and then right after that happened, he
blew up. He blew up.
I mean,
he's just a completely different player.
He had 11 receptions for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he went insane. Like after that happened, you're right, if tempers get high, I mean, Joe Burrow knows where Jamar Chase is going to be, right?
Yeah,
he'll get him the ball. And even if Jamar Chase is covered, I love T. Higgins. Even if any of these guys get hurt, I mean, I think T. Higgins can step up in any scenario, and even Tyler Boyd can step up if somebody gets hurt. I mean, there's just so much depth for their wide receivers. They have so many weapons. I'm riding the Bengals to the ball, man.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
All right, so yeah, your Super Bowl pick for the AFC is the Bills. I got the Bengals. Let's switch over to the NFC.